Let me bring on board Porinju, who joins us live from Kochi. Porinju, good morning. Thank you for joining us. Now, Porinju, enough and more has been discussed on the impact of demonetization. A trader would say that my business is down. A long-term investor and a genuine investor would say this is a great buying opportunity. But my challenge is that as of now, more than local cues, I worry about global cues. Flows are strong. Fed is likely to increase rates, and there is huge profit booking in other emerging markets as well.
So we are going through exactly as you told, and still we are showing a lot of strength. The stock market is showing a lot of strength in expectation of a much faster growth in our economy going forward. If anybody is talking, if sensible people and the sensible economists, if they are talking about a positivity for the long-term economic growth in India, it basically means even short-term our markets will go up.
Porinju, the space which has got bashed and which has got beaten black and blue is the entire small and the mid-cap space, and that's the pond where you fish. So in this kind of a market, when large cap stocks are struggling, there is strong outflows out of some of the quality names. What is in store for some of the mid and the small cap stocks?
It's a very healthy situation, healthy environment in the markets today for the small cap, mid cap, and even the large caps. It is true that FIS, a lot of selling was happening. In the last 1 month, I think in November, they have sold stocks worth around nearly 40,000 crores. To most people, that's a huge number, but for me, I think it's peanut for Indian markets. And this was a period where the emerging markets were going through big selling pressure by the large institutions. So in that context, and we had a very big economic event, perhaps a historically important economic event we have gone through. So a lot of apprehensions, uncertainties regarding that. So which markets do not like the uncertainties in the short term, especially. So that way it was a period of chaos and confusion. In spite of that, in spite of all these negative factors, you see Indian markets, Indian stocks are doing reasonably well. And some of the stocks which had fallen very badly in the last week, in 5-6 working days, they have recovered 30, 40, some of them 50%. I could see some stocks like TVS Electronics up by 100%. So it basically shows the bullishness of the market, even technically, I feel.
Porinju, I think a statement from you is interesting. You believe that the Nifty could scale new highs before the budget. Now the budget is 2 months away and the Nifty new high is about 1,000 points away. You're bracing for yourself for a 1,000-point rally on the Nifty in the next 2 months.
Yeah, I feel fairly confident on this stand, even though I'm not an expert or I'm not a chartist kind of person. This I'm talking with, the so-called long-term cues I'm taking. And Indian investors and even traders are getting more sensible, Neeraj. So there is a chance people will discount the current quarter a challenging environment for some companies, not all the companies. Maybe some of the companies may have one more quarter of challenging time. So people will discount things in advance. People will start talking about the potential for Indian corporate earnings in 2017-18, after living 1-2 quarters. So that is how value investing has to be done. And most importantly, if you are looking at the technicality of the markets, in spite of the huge selling by FIs, I am seeing a silver lining with regard to the domestic savings coming to the financial assets, especially equities. This will be next 1 year, next 12 months, you are going to see historic inflow into the equities from Indian households. It can be much more than what normally people expect, because the potential of Indian households to invest in non-physical assets, that will be unlocked. That's going to be a trigger. Now people are going to be scared about, accumulating gold in a big way. There can be already, these are the physical assets. Indians were accustomed to that. People used to keep the currency notes in gunny bag and sleep on that, and go on accumulating gold whenever they get some savings. So that was a typical middle class, even lower middle class Indian mentality. About the gold. So that is going to change, and globally, I feel this gold will be, perceived to be not good as an investment going forward. That shining of gold can go away because it is only psychological. Gold has no value otherwise. It has zero fundamental value. It should be priced below aluminum, in my opinion, looking at the quality of the metal. So, so it is all because of the built-in sentiment and, 6,000 years of tradition people are following. but things can change in today's world.
We've seen the kind of stark underperformance from the yellow metal. But Porinju, since you believe that we're going to hit new highs before the budget, sectorally, what's going to lead the rally?
This rally is going to be very broad-based, and equity valuations in India today is very reasonable. I don't want to say it's too underpriced kind of thing, but I expect the GDP to grow 2% higher going forward. And I'm not talking about this quarter or next quarter. I'm talking, that is too narrow-minded, low-class thinking, what many people are talking about. We should think beyond that. India needs to grow much higher. It's imperative, as I used to talk earlier, if you have to survive, to have peace and happiness in this country, to improve things. See, one thing we should look at, the corruption has been the root cause for a lot of economic evils in India which we are facing and which we are going to face. So the sustained rise in corruption levels in the last 2-3 decades has created a lot of inefficiency in the management of economy by the politicians. I'm not talking bad or good about any political parties. I do not have any affiliation to any political parties. But today I see that today's current regime, they are thinking very differently. They are thinking, big in size. They are thinking long-term by vision. So these things are very much required for a faster, long-term, sustainable economic growth, which is imperative for this country today. We have no reason for holding 500 million people in poverty. We have to change. We have to grow faster. So for that, people have to, they may need to suffer little here and there, standing in the queue, kind of thing. And it is so bad, a lot of media talking bad, focusing on that, exaggerating that, and misleading the country. That's very unfortunate.
Okay, Porinju, let's talk stocks then. Stuff people can buy, and it's surprising to see that you still have conviction in real estate as an investment. Godrej Properties and Anantraj, why is that?
Yeah, this has been my old stock, which has not performed much. Of course, they had just doubled last year. It again came down to now around 40 levels, 1,300 crores market cap. See, I see the silver lining again in the select real estate companies who are really developers, or who have got a plan to develop the low-cost housing, or maybe the budget housing, whatever you call that. We are in huge deficit when it comes to living a home for people, poor people or lower middle class. There are a lot of millions of people still homeless in this country. I think the new regime, they are also talking about a home for everybody, every Indian. That's not only the dream, that should be the wish of every Indian, and support those kind of movements. So in that regard, we need to build homes. And even, now the land prices can decline, property prices can decline, which is positive for genuine, good property developers. Even a company like Godrej Properties, there could be a Shobha, even in the mid-segment, even higher segment, there can be. Now the cash deals will be slowly declining in the real estate deals. So it is getting professionalized. A lot of small players, marginal players who are thriving on this black money transaction, they will disappear. So the existing professional large players, whichever segment they are working on, they will benefit more, they will have more market share, and there will be wealth creation when it comes to the shareholders. So Anandraj is something we are holding, it's one of our core holdings, not performing in the last 1 year. So this is one stock I think there is a lot of scope slowly, not to buy it today I'm talking about. When markets are bad and when real estates are beaten down, investors can look at these kind of companies and make decent, decent compounders. These stocks will be going forward.
So, Porinju, what are your top 3 holdings? And in this entire reset era, because of Trump and the demonetization, which is a local impact, have your top 3-4 holdings changed?
No, Nivij, it hasn't changed. I am betting on the higher economic growth of this country. Now, short-term thinking people may tell the consumer products companies will go down. This is all next few months, couple of quarters. I think one should not look at stocks looking at 2 quarters or even 1 year, maybe. The investors should think much beyond a quarter or 2. So in that respect, I'm telling you, there are positive segments. I can tell you, this is my earlier theme. If you remember, I was in fact visualizing the kind of things happening in this country today, because even 1 year ago, 2 years ago, the government had given indications, the regime had given indications that black money will be curtailed, there will be more transparency in the system, they will take action against corruption. See, this is nothing new happening today. This is only one step of demonetization happened. Actually, the war against corruption has been going on last 2 years, first time since independence, believe me. That's why I'm telling you this is very important, very positive for the country. So what I was trying to tell you, there are some segments which will benefit. Here is one segment which I told you, the turnarounds in management. If you remember, I was talking it last time. Many of the companies in India, they were traditionally managed by the family members. Even though it was a listed company, publicly held, the promoters never understood that. They were thinking it is 100% their company. They will manage the way they want, except for the compliance part of with SEBI. So that was the time. So in which they were used to siphon out money. They used to convert a lot of profits into black money for their family. So those things will change. It will be difficult to convert or to siphon off money and make black money and cheat the minority shareholders going forward. So those companies, some of them we used to call again chore companies kind of thing, they will change. So that is where minority shareholders can make a killing. So look for such companies. A lot of them are there in our small caps and mid caps.
So let's talk about not this quarter, next quarter. Let's talk about next 3 years. I think that's a decent time frame for a genuine long-term investor, 3 to 4 years. Without getting into the expected return, give me 3 names which you are happy to own for next 3 to 4 years, and irrespective of what is happening in the world, what will go wrong in India, what will go right with the world, you will not sell those 3 or 4 names for next 3-4 years.
Godrej Industries, one stock, which is again the holding company for Godrej Properties and have a large holding in Godrej Consumer Products too. And they have, Godrej Agrovet. So there can be a lot of potential trigger for this company. And it's a well managed, of course, anybody will appreciate the quality and professionalism of the management, promoters. So this is one company I'm looking forward. I'm holding in PMS also. Recently I've been buying. TCI, another company we are holding in PMS. TCI is now around 2,000 crores market capitalization. It's one of the very large logistics company. So after the GST implementation, people are now forgetting the fancy is gone for the logistics company. Now, because nobody want to wait for the numbers. People have to buy and sell in a fancy and come out of that. Then everybody forget the stocks. I mean the trading community or short-term investors. So now it has come down. The stock is available at around 170. That looks like a decent bet for the next 3-4 years, as you rightly mentioned, as a decent compounder. Then maybe Reliance Industries. I have talked earlier also, but it hasn't moved much. I think this also is a stock to watch. The new economy, the new economic environment, the digital economy kind of things people are talking about. Maybe this company has got an increased role to play going forward. So Reliance Industries also could be a decent performer for next 2, 3, 4 years time.
I just have one last question, Porinju, from my end, and that is on consumption, because that's the theme everybody's talking about. Now, I know that you had some bets in consumption space as well. What are your thoughts? I mean, could there be some weakness out there in the consumption names, and would you use that weakness as an opportunity to buy? And if so, what and where?
I think it's a very important aspect, Neeraj. See, now people are telling there will be some consumption slowdown, so sell the consumption stocks. That's a great opportunity it's a great long-term opportunity. Because India consumption is going to really boom in the next 3-4 years. Forget the 1-2 quarters. And that is how you invest in equities. So that way, those stocks may be available sober because traders and short-term people or narrow-minded people may be selling them off. So it's a great opportunity. See the 1.25 billion people, and if the current regime is succeed in enabling, in empowering a lot of poor people, half of our Indians are still living in poverty and suffering. I used to say I don't feel a proud Indian seeing them suffering, my fellow Indians suffering. So in that perspective, if the government succeed in reducing the poverty and empowering them, our consumption is only going to go up. It's a huge advantage from the population perspective.